Where should Deshaun go? Good question. How about literally anywhere? Even a Browns blog tweeted that, quote, Cleveland needed to think about Deshaun Watson, to which Baker quipped, some of y'all Browns are funny. Exactly, Michael Vick. So let me start with you. Mike, is there any team out there right now that shouldn't be all in on Deshaun Watson?
And because of the talent that you're dealing with, every team should be all in. But if I'm the San Francisco 49ers, then I'm giving up the kitchen sink for Deshaun Watson. I mean, to pair him up with Kyle Shanahan, that's a dream come true type of situation. I wanted to play for his dad. I knew how good Mike was, and his son didn't fall too far from the tree. So, man, so you can elaborate a little more than what I can, but, watching from afar, man, it's just offensive gurus. I look at him as a guy like Andy Reid type. I mean, different type of offenses, but, they can come up with a lot, right there on the spot, and it's very innovative. But if Deshaun is going to make this move and make this jump, he got to make it count. And, we spoke a couple of times or once about this, and it's about making this count in this situation, and that's what he's going to do. So I don't know where it's going to end up, and no disrespect, B. Look, man, I know you got an affinity and a love for your Jets, man, but that ain't the spot. That ain't the spot.
What is going on today? What is going on today? Nick, can you stop calling people, telling them to bash the Jets? Please. Look, we know where he's going. He said where he's going. He's going to the Jets. He's in New York. He's at Brooklyn Nets games. He just bought a car in Philly. Okay, call your boys in Philly. This is a true story. Bought a car in Philly. The guy asked him, what color green do you want? The dude said, oh, this could be Philly green. And he said, give me the jet green. How about that? So we know where he's going. But if we're going to play along, let's play along with this whole scenario. There's three teams that it doesn't make sense for. Seattle doesn't make sense for Deshaun Watson because, one, you have, the number 2, number 3 best quarterback in the league, but you're asking Russell Wilson to hand it off on first, second, and third down. You're going to ask Deshaun Watson to do the same. The second team is the Arizona Cardinals. Let's stay in the division. Kyler Murray is more than enough, and he's good enough to get you guys to the Super Bowl. As an organization, just do your job. Make sure that your football makes sense. Make sure you guys are making the right moves in free agencies, in the draft, and they'll be right where they need to be. And the last team is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everybody's talking about Trevor Lawrence and how great this kid is, and he can't miss talent. So why are you going to give up everything for this guy? And then you also don't have to pay him $45 million, so you can build around him for the next 4 or 5 years. So those are just three teams that just doesn't make sense for me, resident GM.
Okay, before I give my answer, one quick question to Brandon Marshall. Is that accurate that Deshaun Watson just got a car and had it painted jet green? Is that a true story?
Well, let me call. I'm gonna put it on somebody else.
It came
via Phil Simms. It came via Phil Simms, yes, and Phil Simms said yes. So if it comes out to be wrong, y'all crush Phil Simms at me.
Got it. No, that's fine. Right. That's fine. Via Phil Simms, we got a coin flip on it. That's fine. Tell Phil I said that. He's your guy. All right, I'm just kidding. All right. So here's the deal. Here's the thing. There is only one team that if the Texans called and said, we want to trade our quarterback for your quarterback, there is only one team that would hang up the phone, the Chiefs. Every other team would at least have a meeting. As great as Russ is, Deshaun's almost a decade younger. They have the meeting. As great as Aaron Rodgers is, Deshaun is more than a decade younger. They have the meeting. As good as Kyler is, they have the meeting.
No.
I want to focus, though, on the AFC. I want to focus on the AFC because here's the thing. I'm going to bring up Mahomes again. The question is, can our quarterback go head-to-head with Patrick Mahomes and beat him? And of the young quarterbacks in the conference, there's only one that can say yes and prove it. Show me the graphic, if we could, please. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson, and Baker Mayfield. They've all, I think we have the graphic, they've all played Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is 10-1 against them. The only one who's beaten them, the only one, is Deshaun Watson. Now, if you are, I love Baker. Deshaun's better. I love Lamar.
Yeah.
Deshaun's better. Justin Herbert could be awesome. Deshaun's better, and obviously Deshaun's better than Josh Allen. So, Wilds, the reason I'm bringing those teams up is it is hard to get value for a franchise quarterback. It's why they're never traded. But if you're getting a franchise quarterback in return and some picks, then all of a sudden you can sell it. Then all of a sudden maybe you are getting legitimate value. So those are, to me, the teams that could make the most obvious packages, along with the Jets, because Justin Fields would be the pick, and Trevor Lawrence, the Jags, because Trevor Lawrence would be the pick. Like, you've got to give the Texans picks and a quarterback, and the team that is the Texans have to convince themselves this is going to be a path to eventually competing with the Chiefs.
But I don't know if the Texans ever have any leverage whatsoever. If Deshaun is willing to sit out, when Nick Caserio talks to Deshaun Watson, which might be for the first time, said, hey, we're going to trade you to, like you requested, to the Jets to make Brandon happy. And Deshaun says, oh, okay, all right, great. That's great. I got my car in Jets green already. Says, all right, what did he trade me for? And, we got a few first rounders, few second rounders. We did okay. It's like, you know what? Why don't you send one of those first rounders back? Like, well, yeah, because you don't, or I won't go. I'll just sit out. So all of a sudden, Deshaun has all the leverage. So I think he has so much leverage to go to a team that gives a bevy of stuff that he's now on. Doesn't make any sense. And now, here's the dirty pool theory. As we talk about other quarterbacks. Hold on, Mike. This is the evil. This is why I have like my furrowed brow. We've talked a lot about how kickers are these sensitive birds, and we've seen the quarterbacks get fragile when they draft a backup quarterback. Oh no, well that was my job. And Carson Wentz like, oh, I'm going to throw turnovers to protest how upset I am about your draft. I feel like we have an opportunity for some evil genius GM coach to say, oh, you know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing your team is interested in Deshaun Watson. And it starts to get into all of these quarterbacks' heads that Deshaun Watson might end up on your squad and from a rival team. So the question for you, Mike, is this. Was there ever a trade rumor when you were at the Falcons? Like, you know what? I hear they're interested in trading Mike Vick. I'm interested in Mike Vick. Would that affect your psyche if the rumor mill started to get out there about Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, Mike's sensitive too.
I mean, potentially it could, but when you believe in yourself, like I had one of the best backups you can possibly have behind myself, and that was Matt Schaub. And, he was nice. This is how unselfish I am and how much I believed in my talent. I actually helped groom Matt Schaub to be ready to step in and take over, if I ever left or if I ever got hurt or when I got hurt and had to sit out. Yeah. So I made sure that dude was A1 and he understood every component of the offense. He already knew the West Coast system. He was ready to step in and play. So we competed in practice. So any trade rumors or anybody that they was talking about bringing in, it didn't faze me at all. I was too confident in my game.
Mike,
I'm keeping it 100.
I don't know if this
That's
time will actually match up. But Brett Favre, when Brett Favre was having his beef with the Green Bay Packers and Atlanta Falcons stood up and said, you know what? Let's go get Brett Favre. Didn't Brett Favre actually start there? I think that would have got to you. All y'all quarterbacks are sensitive, man.
Nah, I just added fuel to the fire. Jenna, honestly, I wouldn't get up here and tell a story that's, fictitious. I'm keeping it real. I marveled at that. It added fuel to my fire, bro. But everybody's not the same, to your point. Everybody's not the same. I would say, 95% of the league.
Let's talk some Chiefs now. Nick brought them up. They are gearing up to defend their title next Sunday in Tampa. Mike Vick, you think Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce?
Hold on. I got to interrupt. I'm sorry. Jenna, I have to ask Mike a question, and then you ask the question the segment's supposed to be. I apologize. I should have told you before. Vic, you see that little smile Mahomes was trying to hold back? Did you see that?
That's the first thing I noticed was that smirk.
Okay, translate the smirk. As a man who's just talking about how confident he is, translate the smirk. Then, Jenna, go ahead.
I'm sitting here laughing to myself. I'm sitting here laughing to myself because the man is so good. Jenna, I'll let you ask the question. The man is so good. He just sitting there smiling. When you ask him a question about offense, he actually said, I don't think about who I'm throwing it to. I just throw it to who's open. And 9 times out of 10, it's like 2 or 3 guys that's open to every concept. That's funny.
Yeah, he knows.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he knows.
All right, well,
That's so funny.
Regardless, two of all the guys that he could throw to, of all the guys that happen to be open, are Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Do you think these two are one of the best receiving tandems? Will they go down as 2 of the best receiving tandems ever to play the game? Clearly, they could be this Sunday, or next Sunday, rather.
I think they will, and it's going to be predicated, around a couple of different things. And I think, one, as long as they have 15 as their quarterback, the sky's the limit. 2, Andy Reid, how much longer is Andy going to coach? If Andy wins the Super Bowl this year, will he go for 3 or will he go for 4? I know coaches getting up there in age, made a ton of money, had a lot of success, and probably going to want to enjoy the fruits of his labor, which he should at some point. But as he's assembled this team and the structure and the way the organization is functioning, it's going to be hard to walk away from this. So I will say these two can go down as the greatest to ever line up on the field, combo, tandem-wise. But as long as they got 15, sky's the limit.
I mean, it all sounds great, but I don't think they're going to end up as the greatest. And their numbers may say so. Because there's a narrative out there, Nick, that they have to overcome. And that narrative is that guy right there, Tyreek Hill. When you look at him, you look at him as an athlete. You look at him as like that Devin Hester type. I just had Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf on our I Am Athlete show, and we said, what's your top 5? And both of those guys went through their list, and they didn't name him. Nick, you asked me my top 5 midway through the season, and I didn't name him. But then you looked at me and said, Brandon, how could you miss him? And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And I think he has, and this whole team has this, they have to do a good job of, well, they don't have to do anything but continue to ball. But this discussion right now, this narrative around this kid as one of the greatest wide receivers, it's not helping the case right now.
So a couple things. One is, how many times did the Chiefs play the Bucs this year? That's a whole hell of a lot of highlights for Tyreek Hill on the Bucs. My goodness, they played 5 times? That's first of all. Second of all, you mentioned him as an athlete. There is someone, and I got to be very careful with how I phrase this, someone, I would say very close to LeBron, texted me 3 weeks ago and said it's official, LeBron no longer the best athlete alive. It's now Tyreek Hill. And I couldn't believe who the text came from. And I'd never even thought about it in that context. And the context was, and the argument was, he high points the ball like a 6'4" receiver. His stop and start is the best maybe ever as far as a guy's ability to go from landing to top speed is as good as anyone's ever done it. And obviously his top speed is one of, if not the fastest of any elite receiver of all time. And then you add to it Kelce, who is in the midst of the greatest 6-year stretch of any tight end ever statistically, and you can start to make the case, Wilds. So you have Swan and Stallworth as the gold standards forever. You then go a long time, and then our friend and former colleague Chris Carter and Randy Moss had 4 years that are untouchable, but it was only 4 years. Harrison and Wayne had the 3 years where they were both elite. And then I think the best duo ever is probably Bruce and Holt because they did it for 8 years. These guys are in the midst of 4 years. And over those 4 years, you've got almost 12,000 receiving yards. You've got 70-some touchdowns. And you can look at it and say, man, they already won 1 Super Bowl, Wilds. If they get another one, now they're approaching Swan and Stallworth. They would have then passed Bruce and Holt. You do have the ability, as odd as it sounds, for a tight end and a guy who was drafted as a punt returner almost, to become the most prolific duo in the history of the league?
Oh, this is a challenge for Carlton Davis now. He's got to match up against Tyreek Hill, Brandon, and it's one thing to go up against, great wide receivers. It's another thing to go up against an all-time great duo. So here's Carlton Davis's sort of resume. There's one that sticks out there that's pretty ugly, and it's Tyreek Hill. So Brandon, can Carlton Davis, and this isn't great, can he shut down Tyreek Hill? Or when you were playing, do you just think that when you were matched up against a guy, you're like, I'm going to cook this guy, and there's no scheme you could put up against me to stop me?
Absolutely. There was one guy out there that I had to really, really fight, and that was Darrelle Revis. Carlton Davis, I'm sorry, buddy, but this is a boxing one type of approach. I know Todd Bowles is going to help you out, but you're not going out there covering him one-on-one. No wows. He has no chance if it's just one-on-one. Absolutely not.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.